Welcome back to Living in the Word, and today we are looking at the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. So let's begin. Genesis 19 verses 1 to 3. And the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of Sodom. Then Lot saw them and stood up to meet them, and he bowed down with his face to the ground. And he said, "Behold, my lords, please turn aside into the house of your servant, and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you can rise early and go on your way." But they said, "No, but we will spend the night in the square." But he urged them strongly, and they turned aside with him and came into his house. And he made a meal for them and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. So we find that two of the men who visited Abraham were angels, and they have travelled onto Sodom while God was still talking with Abraham, as we had read in the previous video. Now, Lot is sitting at the gate of Sodom, which means that he has become a leader of Sodom. In those days, the gate of a city is where the leaders would gather to discuss issues and provide wisdom and guidance. Now, in Genesis 13, Lot had pitched his tent towards Sodom, but now he had been drawn into Sodom itself. He knew truth and justice, righteousness and evil. He was a righteous man, but he liked the good lifestyle that Sodom offered. Now in verse 2, Lot insists that the men stay with him and leave early in the morning. He seems to know how wicked the people of Sodom are. We'll continue reading. Genesis 19 verses 4 to 8. Before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we may know them." But Lot went out to them at the entrance, and he shut the door behind him. And he said, "No, my brothers, please do not do such a wrong thing. Behold, I have two daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you. Then do to them as it seems good in your eyes. Only to these men do not do this thing, since they came under my roof for protection." So here Lot recognizes the wickedness in the people of Sodom. Yet for some reason he believes offering his two virgin daughters is a less wicked act than what these men are trying to do. Genesis 19 verses 9 to 11. But they said, "Step aside." Then they said, "This fellow came to dwell as a foreigner, and he acts as a judge. Now we shall do worse to you than them." And they pressed very hard against Lot, and they drew near to break the door. Then the men reached out with their hands and brought Lot into the house, and they shut the door. And the men who were at the entrance of the house, they struck with blindness, both small and great, and they were unable to find the entrance. Here the men of Sodom don't take too kindly to Lot trying to judge them now. This suggests two things. Firstly, that as a leader or judge of Sodom, he has allowed wickedness to occur before. And secondly, as a foreigner, the men of Sodom do not see Lot as an equal. So to me, this suggests that, it confirms that Lot has been a poor judge, previously allowing all sorts of wickedness to occur. If he had been a just judge, he would not even be allowed this high position, being a foreigner. Let's continue reading. Genesis 19 verses 12 to 15. Then the men said to Lot, "Who is here with you? Bring out from the place your sons-in-law and your sons and your daughters, for all who are with you in the city. for we are about to destroy this place, because their cry has become great before Yahweh. Yahweh sent us to destroy it. Then Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were taking his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out from this place, because Yahweh is going to destroy the city." But it seemed like a joke in the eyes of his sons-in-law. And as the dawn came up, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are staying with you, lest you be destroyed with the punishment of this city." Lot now realizes that these men are not mere mortals, that they are, in fact, angels. When he tells his sons-in-law to leave, they believed he was joking, indicating that Lot's behavior hasn't reflected a life centered on God's will. Genesis 19 verses 16 to 22. But when he lingered, the men seized him by his hand and his wife's hand and his 2 daughters by hand, on account of the mercy of Yahweh upon him. And they brought him out and set him outside of the city. And after bringing them outside, one said, "Flee for your life. Do not look behind you, and do not stand anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, lest you be destroyed." And Lot said to them, "No, please, my lords, behold, your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown me great kindness in saving my life. But I cannot flee to the mountains, lest the disaster overtake me and I die. Behold, this city is near enough to flee there, and it is a little one. Please let me flee there. Is it not a little one? Then my life shall be saved." And he said to him, "Behold, I will grant this favor as well, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Escape there quickly, for I cannot do this thing until you get there." Therefore the name of the city was called Zor. Despite the urgency of the angels, Lot still lingers, hesitating to leave that lifestyle behind. So it's the angels that grab Lot's family and bring them out. Lot then pleads with the angels to let them escape to a nearby small city rather than the mountains. And see how he tries to convince the angels that this is a small city. That's quite interesting as well. Genesis 19 verses 23 to 29. After the sun had risen upon the earth and Lot had entered Zor, Yahweh rained down from heaven upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from Yahweh. And he overthrew those cities and the whole plain, and the inhabitants of the cities and the vegetation of the ground. But his wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham arose early in the morning and went to the place where he had stood before Yahweh. And he looked down upon the surface of Sodom and Gomorrah, and upon the whole surface of the land, the plain, and he saw that, behold, the smoke of the land went up like the smoke of a smelting furnace. So it was, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham and sent Lot out from the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Once Lot entered the small city, brimstone and fire rained down on Sodom, Gomorrah, and the plains. In Genesis 19 verses 17, the angels commanded them not to look back. Yet, whether through hesitancy or a longing for what was being taken away, Lot's wife looks back and she becomes a pillar of salt. Now, everything that Lot had and knew was gone. All the wealth he had accumulated was gone. Only he and his 2 daughters remained. And this shows the lack of wisdom in firstly settling amongst wicked people that Lot had. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. God bless.